Welcome to the Generation X-Wing podcast, a modern look at a retro lifestyle. My name is Rob Williams, and I'm here with
Jamie and Pale Rider,
as well as
Steve 3.
All right, today. Today we are talking about Tales of the Jedi, a series that came out just was about less than a month ago, I'd say, right?
Which is a pretty quick review for us here at
It is a
Generation
darn
X-Wing.
fast review for us. I think in about 3 years' time, we'll talk about that little Baby Yoda short that came out just a couple days ago as well. Did you guys catch that one?
No.
No. Well, okay, we'll review that in 3 years. But it's like 2 minutes long, so maybe 4 years. But we are going to be talking about Tales of the Jedi, the short miniseries that came out. That was the story about the path of two Jedis going in opposite directions of Ahsoka and Count Dooku, and all done in the style of Clone Wars animation, which made me very happy. Storytelling done with Dave Filoni in mind here. There was directors like Nathaniel Villanueva, Samuel Ruiz, Charles Murray, Saul Ruiz, sorry, I apologize. Saul, here's that name thing again. Saul Ruiz did four episodes he directed. Are you okay there, Steve?
I'm just smelling, Jamie. That looks like an old fashioned of some sort. I'm just trying to smell through the mic.
I guess I'll just stop. I'll just stop the
whiskey in a
podcast
glass.
then. I apologize. You guys talk about your liqueur. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the whiskey that you got me for my birthday, Rob. It's good.
It's the swear jar.
It is swear jar whiskey.
Wow, I'm actually feeling pretty good now. You're still
You
doing
were
good.
letting us talk, Rob.
No, it is not an old fashioned.
Ah.
Yeah, I try not to have those too often. But there's not much beating just whiskey class.
Okay. Anyway, as you were.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Hollywood. Appreciate it. So as I was saying before, I was rudely that face right there, Steve. That face that Ahsoka's giving you over your shoulder. That's kind of how I feel right now. I'm going down the dark path here in a moment here, Steve, if you keep doing this. But written by Dave Filoni from pretty much most of them, except for Choices, which is written by Charles Murray and Elan Murray. What do you guys think of this series? I'll let Steve go because I'm going to pull him out of his shell and have him talk for a little bit here. So, Steve, what do you think about this episode?
I was a fan. When I watched the first episode, I was like, because I didn't know what I was going to get, right? I didn't jump ahead. I didn't watch anything. Didn't know what I was going to get. And I watched the first one about our young Ahsoka and all the rest. I'm like, I was expecting a little bit more. I felt a little bit when I watched it. But
You're the penguin?
I really enjoyed the episodes with Dooku. And I mean, how are we going to handle this? Because they were such short episodes, really, but it was good. And then we had a number of them which linked the storyline, which was so good. And one of the things I think we've talked about in the past is when it comes to Clone Wars and Rebels, etc., is this glue, this in-between cement between the bricks of Star Wars that Filoni was able to give us with Clone Wars and Rebels, and explain some of the stuff that we had questions for, and if it wasn't for some of those episodes of Clone Wars, we would probably still be picking apart the prequels every single day, right? So to see these storylines of people that we were like, well, why didn't we see Ahsoka in the prequels? Who is this Count Dooku guy? Then the little tidbits you get through the movies about who they are and stuff. And I really enjoyed it, man, because it was just a little bit more that we didn't get. I mean, again, I don't know how we're going to discuss this, but I got the shivers, man. I got the shivers in a couple of places, and it really took me back to like, oh, this is heart-wrenching. I love it. So I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it started off with wah, and it ended up with, I really love that.
Jamie, what about you?
Are we talking?
Were you
just
wah
first
at
episode
first?
or
No, we're
all
talking
of them?
as a whole thing first, and then we'll break it down episode by episode.
Okay, cool.
But as a whole, what'd you feel?
I loved it. I mean, I don't think it's any secret that I enjoy Clone Wars and Bad Batch and Rebels. So especially Clone Wars, like I can't get enough, and this is basically just an appendix to Clone Wars. So yeah, it's especially like Steve said, all the backstory with Dooku, and just getting a little bit more of his character, like seeing Dooku as a Jedi right before he kind of turns, so good. Such a fun story to visit, and especially seeing like young Qui-Gon, and like we jump right in with Dooku, and he's already angry. Like
yeah, he's already questioning.
Yeah, he's already questioning. He's already like kind of just railing against the corruption and injustice that comes out of the Republic. Like already you get that. Like he's already there. So yeah, that was really cool to see just from a character building and backstory standpoint of why Dooku is the way he is in Clone Wars and in the prequels.
Yeah. Did you get the impression that he always knew that Sidious was the Chancellor? Or do you think he was kind of hoodwinked, pardon the pun, by the hooded character that was the whispering Sith Lord that was saying all Jedis are corrupt for the Senate? Do you think he ever really knew that it was? Because I don't know. I mean, I may be stupid, but I don't know if he knows exactly who Palpatine is.
He does say in Attack of the Clones, like he tells Obi-Wan that Darth Sidious is in control of the Senate. Like he tells him flat out without saying he's Palpatine. He's saying he's Palpatine.
Right.
I enjoyed this series myself. I thought it was a lot of fun. Part of it felt a little bit too short. A part of it, not so much. I was more excited about Dooku than Ahsoka. I think we'll get into it, but I did enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it as much as you guys did, but I like the fact that this leaves the door open for possible more stories of more Jedis in the future. Will we see? We'll talk about it in the end, but will we see other Jedi stories from Shaak Ti to Plo Koon to even as we got teased in
Sifo Dyas.
Sifo Dyas. I was almost disappointed we didn't get more about that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Sifo Dyas was a dupe, right?
Yeah.
Like he was basically the fall guy for this scheme. Like they ordered the clones in his name, and then Dooku killed him.
Yeah. So that's what I'm curious about. I would like to see more stories and more Jedis. I don't know if it would work the same because this is purposely done to have two Jedis facing trials, questioning the actual Jedi Order, but still going in a path where in the end you choose what side you're on. You choose your own adventure. Story ending is based on what you chose, and Ahsoka chose light and Dooku chose dark.
Well, how cool would it be to see even like a younger Obi-Wan?
Yeah.
A very young Obi-Wan with Qui-Gon.
When he first gets chosen or becomes
stolen.
Oh, stolen. Yeah.
Yeah,
good point. Yeah. Well, let's get into it. Episode 1, Life and Death. This is where we see the birth of Ahsoka Tano. I mean, the whole series has started with the crying Ahsoka Tano. And we see his mother taking her out and teaching her about life and death through a hunt. And we have her kidnapped by this massive saber-toothed tiger. But yet, because she has the Force, she's able to calm the tiger and come on back to town. And the sign of her being a Jedi is now obvious. And it's a great, cute, beautiful little episode. Very quiet. The music works well. It's well written and not too long. What'd you guys think? Jamie, I'll start with you.
It was fun. It definitely was my favorite episode of the mini series, but I thought it was fitting because like Clone Wars is as much about Ahsoka as it is about Obi-Wan and Anakin and the clone army. So it was fitting, I felt like, that we got Ahsoka at the very beginning. And yeah, it was also really cool to get Janina Gavankar back in Star Wars.
Who's that again? Remind me.
I know she was really excited. I remember them announcing that she was Ahsoka's mom, and she was just like grinning ear to ear at Celebration. So she was Iden Versio.
Thank you. That's what it was. I just saw the picture. I'm like, I recognize her.
Yeah. So she was. I know she was super jazzed to get back into Star Wars, and she was very happy to be Ahsoka's mom. And we got a good performance. It was a fun episode. It was definitely different, not something that I would have expected to see out of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, super cool.
Steve?
Yeah, like I said, I was a little bit underwhelmed by it in the beginning. Not sure. I don't know why I was expecting more. It was good though. I mean, my first concern was for the mother giving birth to that head. I mean, I was really interested to know. You know, we start the episode with her giving birth, and we know that what's on this this particular alien race's head, and I'm thinking, how the hell do they get that? Or is it? And we see that it's very short and stubby. So
it's a weird thing to fixate on, Steve.
Yeah, sorry. Just the first thing I was like, oh man,
the miracle birth.
Yeah, I guess we don't know what size of the door is, so we can't really judge.
No, I wasn't gonna say anything, but you went there, so like.
Is it like the game you get with the squares and the circles? maybe. Yeah. Oh, I use the X on this one. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. So now we're just getting into the birds and the bees and the nitty gritty details of Togruta husbandry.
Yeah. But I was expecting maybe a loaf wolf or something like that would come in and grab them, but no, it was kind of cool. But it was a great kickstart. Again, I just went in there not knowing what I was going to get, and I thought, is this the only Ahsoka thing I'm going to get? So yeah, I did enjoy it.
There's not enough lightsabers, man.
But it definitely wasn't my favorite. Let's put it that way. Of all of them that were there, it wasn't my favorite. And I was pleasantly surprised moving forward.
I was the same feeling as you, Steve. To be honest, not about the birthing situation, but
no, I don't think anybody else thought about that stuff.
I think that's all, Steve. I was a little bit underwhelmed at first. It was a little slower paced, but I saw how short it was, so I was just going to go with it, and I knew that the next few episodes would build up. But I do understand what you're saying, and I sympathize with what you're saying as well. It was fine. I don't have much to say about it because it was a beautiful story, but I did like the fact that it continues that idea of the Force animals seem to be in tune with the Force, and we've seen that with Ezra, for example, and it was a cool story. But I think there's been many fables of the boy who's able to tame animal. I think Tarzan comes around those sort of things. Even it's not it's a different type of fable. But
Tarzan was a Jedi.
Tarzan, it's canon now. Yeah, Tarzan.
As was Dr. Doolittle.
Dr. Doolittle. But I can't deny that. So
I mean, imagine if that's what happened in the movie. He's talking to the animals and they go, Jedi.
I got nothing else for that one. So basically, it was a good little story. I enjoyed it. I kind of wish there was something a little bit more, but I don't know what it could have been more. It was there to talk about birth. And I did like the message that they were talking about, the idea of birth and death. It still confused me because having a baby myself at one point in my life and not Force sensitive, is a baby understands this whole conversation. And this baby was maybe 4 months old. Taking children hunting is not uncommon in many cultures. I never question that. It's just like you're talking to it. The baby
remembers the way home.
Possibly, yeah. Or is it did the cat know the way home? But it was just more like the facial language of the baby kind of understood what was being said, and it's turning its head away, and the mother putting it back. And I don't know. I'm nitpicking the hell out of that one, but it was beautiful. It still was beautiful. I liked it. So I got nothing else to add that one. I love the fact that you found that Janina was the voice that made it. Now I actually do enjoy it a lot more because she did amazing as Iden Verso.
I don't typically watch like the live stream of Celebration, but I'll watch all the interviews and everything after the fact on YouTube.
Yeah.
And she was there to talk about Tales of the Jedi and them announcing that she was going to be Ahsoka's mom, and she was just so excited about it. It was really endearing.
Yeah.